We begin tonight in Forest City, Iowa, a tiny town located about 150 miles north of the state capital of Des Moines, a place that escaped a slow death in the 1950s by leaving its small-town farming roots behind and betting on a big idea. The living quarters are up-to-date and comfortable. A queen-size bed, fully appointed bathroom, modern kitchen appliances, even a widescreen TV and a fake fireplace, right next to the steering wheel. That's right, a steering wheel. How else are you going to drive a $300,000 Winnebago motorhome? Winnebago is the business of Forest City, Iowa, a company that employs 3,000 local workers churning out 10,000 motorhomes each year. Senior Vice President Bob Olson showed us where the process begins.
The first thing that happens is the chassis arrives and we start welding bracketry onto the frame to allow us to put our cab structure and our basement and floor structure onto the chassis itself.
The cabs are dropped fully constructed onto the chassis. Once that's done, it moves onto a building affectionately known as Big Bertha, big enough to swallow 7 football fields. Bertha has 3 900-foot assembly lines. It's here that the motorhomes begin to take on a recognizable shape. Where to start? Well, from the ground up, with a floor lowered top down from Bertha's mezzanine. Then, to add a critical touch of luxury, wheel-to-wheel carpeting. Upstairs in Bertha, Slideouts are built. Elements that, not surprisingly, slide out when they're used to expand the living space of these big motorhomes. They're dropped into place and set on their tracks. Interior walls and critical items like sinks are delivered. Then the side walls are bolted on and the rear wall and roof are attached. As Big Bertha's assembly line moves along at about 8 inches an hour, an oven range is put in. Electrical work is done. And of course, a television is installed. The cabinetry being installed is made by the company itself as part of a wider strategy.
We build the majority of our components in-house. Behind me, we're building a couch. We build 90 passenger and driver seats a day, plus 40 lounge chairs and 40 couches. It's just another way that we're able to control our own destiny when it comes to quality.
Winnebago makes everything from dashboards and bumpers to shower stalls and sinks using a vacuum process. A sheet of plastic is heated up and then sucked tight over a mold until it cools. Then the plastic is sliced and diced for use throughout the vehicle. Winnebago even makes their own quilts and sews their own fabrics for drapes, bedspreads, and cushions. Once the finishing touches are lovingly put on the motorhome, it's time to put it through a little stress.
Water and motorhomes don't make for happy campers. That's why every product that we build goes through a water test that has a rainfall equivalent of 50 inches an hour. That way we can ensure that our product does not leak.
The stress Forest City residents felt in the 50s was the ailing farm economy. And as the town began to wither away, K Hansen, a local businessman, convinced the town fathers that building travel trailers was the answer to their woes. In March 1957, the first trailers, Aljos, rolled off the line. John Kay, as he became known, had a rather untraditional start for someone who ended up in the motorhome business. His degree was in mortuary sciences, embalming, so he could take over his father's funeral home at age 21. But later, he switched to his father's other business, a furniture and appliance store. So he knew about furnishing homes, whether stationary or on wheels. In 1959, when he bought the travel trailer business from its first investors, John Kay's vision was of an America ready to hit the new interstate highway system. Soon, the company took on the name of its Iowa county, Winnebago. And in 1966, it released its first self-contained motorhome, much like this one. It had no slide-outs or widescreen TVs, but it did have up-to-date appliances, a dining nook, and even separate sleeping quarters. Not bad for a little over $6,500. During the next few years, Winnebago kept on growing, building new models in record time. But in 1964, disaster struck. A fire swept through the company's 60-year-old timber structure, and its production facilities were gone. Within hours, an application was in for a small business administration loan, and just 23 days later, ground was broken for a new plant. Motorhomes turned Forest City around. It's a small town into which John K. Hansen and his wife Louise, both now gone, poured the money they made. From the YMCA they funded to John K.'s alma mater, Waldorf College. John K. wanted to repay Forest City's workers for the hard work that made him and his company a success. Harlan Rod Berg has been with the company for over 42 years.
You know, we got people with a farming background here. You know, they like to work. They don't just stand back and look at something and say, oh, that won't fit, I'm going to sit down. You know, they make it fit.
Bruce Hertzke is the company's current chairman and CEO. He says John K.'s vision that allowed him to create and build Winnebago Industries sprang from his own experiences.
He actually lived the lifestyle. I mean, he actually would take campers and go camping, and he would be out there and he'd say, you know, people are going to enjoy that. And he even coined the phrase, you can't take sex, booze, and weekends away from the American public.
Winnebago is now a billion-dollar company with over 3 million square feet of manufacturing space. Its average weekly payroll, about $2 million. John V. Hansen, John K.'s son and a former Winnebago executive, thinks even his demanding father would be impressed.
He was always trying to hit a home run, but this was way bigger than anything he could have dreamt about.
Each year, those folks with the staple guns at Winnebago install over 5 million square feet of carpet. That means they're laying enough carpet to cover well over 5,000 average U.S. homes.
Smile, you're on candid camera, huh?